Hello there, this is Marcio. This is another version of episode of Coding with Agents or Culture Coding with Agents. And some of the sessions now, this is probably the first that I caught myself standing after the agent is there doing check it out. Right. Okay. And usually again, right, most of the sessions what we do are reflections about what's going on as we go through these agentic days. Things are changing, maybe things are not changing at all, right? And so that's the purpose for these sessions, for us to reflect, to pause, to understand. Sometimes we don't need a lot of technology and solutions. In some other cases, we want to, of course, uh, pick choices and decide. And right now, I have a, an absurd lot of solutions there to help us with all things possible, right? And so I don't know what's going on. I'm not following much of what's going on. There are different tools every day, different ideas. So for me, it's kind of good to some extent to go back to what's going on with this tool, right? So right now through these episodes, what I call here the coding with agents season, for me it's like Codex and Visual Code and Codex and OpenAI Codex GPT 5.2 at this point, and that's okay for me, because what I find through in terms of trying to feel identify patterns there is that we have been through all of that before, right? And as if things are not changing. And part of this idea is because we have like the idea of the agents are like us, and that's to some extent working. And I even joke sometimes how the reason that it works like us is perhaps not because agents are like humans, is because we made ourselves like ourselves in the past 2 decades, or even much more, probably after the television. I don't know. We made ourselves more like machines as well. That's why it's not so difficult for us to think about, oh yes, the AI agents can replace humans. Yes, in that condition that we're not you know what I mean, right? If you're like a bot, that's probably you're going to be replaced to some extent there, right? And in the other cases might be just more or less valid as well, but I want to make that point. And so that's it so far. That's a reflection. That's today's episode. And just to close this video in terms of feeling something new going on. Today, I caught myself in this situation where it happened many days, situations where you send you do the plan, right? For instance, memos, right? I write memos. There's a plan there, and then you ask for the tool to do, and then you wait there, right? It's kind of waiting. Oh, I'm waiting here for the work that you're doing for me. That's okay, but yesterday I had a conversation with a friend, and one thing that he told me he's doing sometimes when because he's studying for a particular challenge ahead of him, and he said that before he go to sleep he create this special prompt that is asynchronous, like think through, right? There's homework there for you, and that's something that takes like 30 minutes, and then he goes to sleep, and next day he gets the report. So today, even though throughout like many days in many situations I have seen the situations where you give a task, right? Something that the agent's going to do, like multi steps and think through, that's okay. But then today, when I went through a session like writing the memo together, like a meeting, after that we came up with a plan, and then after that I caught myself saying, right, so go ahead and implement the plan, of course, after reading the memo, do the plan as in code, build, and after that, later I'm going to ask you to add changes to the memo, but so far, go ahead and focus in the code and build. And this is something to think through. This is a multi-step process. And then, this was slightly different because today, for real, I decided to go make the coffee at that point, more consciously. Of course, I caught myself in many situations getting a coffee or going to the bathroom, but it was slightly different. The idea of the asynchronous task, okay? Even though, I kind of wanted this to take more time. But the difference today, making an analogy with the situation my friend told me, is that I really considered not looking at the result right now, as if I am going to look later. Okay, I'm not waiting now. That's it. Do your work. I will review later. And that's something new, And that's something. So the problem is the coffee is not even ready yet, and the work is ready. And then should I engage, yes or no, right? That's one thing. Should I look at this? I don't know. Maybe not today. I'm going to do my best now to not look at the result. Just like living through that situation from my buddy. That's it. Thank you very much.